Hey y'all, it's Andrea here at VW Family Farm, and today I am in the kitchen. I am working on several things and just got to thinking it might be some things that are useful to you, so I thought I would bring y'all into my kitchen with me today and just show you what all I've got going on. Some things that I've done lately that have turned out really well, and I just wanted to share with you. But before I get started, I wanted to show you a couple cute things that some viewers sent us. We don't get a ton of mail, but when we do, it is super special to us. We look at everything you send. We're pumped about everything you send. Even if it's just a card saying hello, that means the world to us. Makes our day, makes us know that y'all are thinking about us, and it makes us think about y'all, and it just really brightens our day. This is from a sweet viewer. She made these. They're stamps, and then they've got I think double-sided tape on the back, so they stick to like the lid of a mason jar. Are those not adorable? Salsa ones, honey ones, and Ben actually calls our honey liquid gold, so he loves those. Bee ones, and then some more liquid gold ones. So thank you so much. Another sweet viewer sent me this book, and it is almost my birthday, so this was such a great birthday present for me. It's an Amish cooking class cookbook by Wanda Brunstetter, which I like her books. So I was pumped to get this. I've been reading it. It's got stories about the Amish as well as recipes and stuff. So as I come across cool things in this, I'll be sharing with y'all. And that leads me to another thing. I'm going to be sharing some more Amish recipes with y'all. The lady we went and visited actually gave me several more recipes besides just the Amish bread that she fed us that morning. There was some cinnamon rolls with caramel icing that were the best I've ever put in my mouth. There was a coffee cake. So I'm going to be sharing some of those things with y'all. So stay tuned for that. But today is not about Amish cooking. Today is about sourdough. I've got my Amish bread actually going right back here. But I am going to also start making sourdough again. I kind of took a little break from it. And it's been a while now since I told you how to make your own sourdough starter. But sourdough really is what I believe is the healthiest way to eat bread. I just got away from doing it, just like all things. We get in habits and we let things go, and then we think, why am I not doing that anymore? Or why am I doing this? Or whatever. So I love the Amish bread recipe, and I will continue to make that, but I'm going to be making sourdough bread too. And I thought, as I'm pulling my starter out, you may have stuck yours in the fridge for a while. This thing has been neglected for months and months and months and months before and still been fine. So I encourage people never throw out your starter, because then you're starting from scratch. But I'm going to have Lane link some videos to other sourdough videos I've made already. How to start your starter from scratch. That's one. I've also given you some recipes for 2 different types of sourdough bread already. You can find those down in the description. But there's a whole lot more things you can do with sourdough besides just bread, and besides just feeding a starter all the time. What can you do with all that? So I'm going to be going through a little series about sourdough. But for today, all I wanted to tell you was pull that thing out. As you can see, mine, I don't know if you can see it, has some liquid on top. That's totally normal. That is called hooch. Ben cracks up when I say that, but that is what it's called. You can either, when you uncap it, if it's been in your fridge for a while, should have a really strong yeasty smell. Now, you're going to have to be the judge of that. The liquid on top is probably going to be dark. I mean, sometimes it's almost black. Mine is really dark brown, murky looking. Smells nice and yeasty. It's fine. You can do 2 things here. You can pour that hooch off and just give it a good stir, or you can just stir it in. It doesn't matter. I prefer just to stir it in, so I'm going to do that now. So I'm just going to stir that in. I may not even get it all incorporated together, and that's okay. Okay, so to revive this thing is probably not strong enough because it's been in the fridge in a cold state, trying to feed off the flour that I gave it the last time. So I would not set into making something like bread right now. Now you could probably divide this and go ahead and make something like pancakes or something like that. But you can also just compost half of it or feed it to an animal or whatever and get it revived again to where you can make anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split it, and then I am going to feed both of those batches. So I'm going to do that now. So I actually decided to go ahead and compost half of it because I'm not ready to make anything later today or in the morning. So I'm going to go ahead and just compost that. Now, to get it revived, you're just going to add equal parts flour and water, around a fourth of a cup. Maybe a little bit more than a fourth of a cup of flour and water. It is no super exact science, especially if you have an established starter that's already going. So don't get hung up on that. I told y'all last time the exact measurements of flour and water, and it seemed like people got hung up on it. So don't do that. It's not that hard. Just about a fourth cup flour, about a fourth cup water. And then if you stir it and you think that is way too thin, or that is so thick I can't even stir it, go a little more flour or a little more water next time, depending on if it's thick or thin. You can play with it. It's no exact science. So I'm adding about a fourth of a cup flour and about a fourth of a cup water. Okay? And then I'm just going to stir that together. You can see my jar is dirty. I don't even know when I was sloshing the hooch a while ago if you could even see through this jar. But this is my one jar that has always held my starter. I read one time, don't change your jar. Now you can also read, a lot of people say, change your jar. When it gets dirty looking, change it. I've never changed it. I take that back. I've very rarely changed it. And I don't have any trouble. There's so much good stuff going on in this jar. I just don't. If it bothers you to have a jar that has some stuff on the sides of it, change your jar. I don't think it really matters. But for the purposes of today, all we're doing is getting it out and we're getting it going. And then next week I'll put out the first video on what all we can do with this sourdough starter now that we have it going. So just your assignment for this next week, get that thing out and let's get it revived. One other thing I want to show y'all that I'm doing in the kitchen today is I am dehydrating. The reason I'm behind the camera and showing you this is because if you don't have a dehydrator, this thing is awesome. If you get a chance to get an Excalibur, you should totally snatch it up for your birthday, Christmas. I've had viewers email me and say they scored them for very cheap at used, garage sales, estate sales, all kinds of stuff. They're worth every penny. I'll tell you why. So I've used dehydrators that are the round stackable racks before. Those are okay, but then the motor that dries everything is on top and I had trouble getting everything dried. In the Excalibur, the motor is at the back and you're loading everything from the front on trays. So they're getting equal heat and air circulation and it just does an amazing, amazing job. I just thought I could lent my cheap one from Walmart along, and then I got an opportunity to get one of these, and oh, it's so much better. So if you get a chance, I'm not saying that you can't do everything with the stackable kind, but if you get a chance, snatch one up, especially if it's a good deal, because you will love it. It's kind of like a KitchenAid mixer. You can do lots of things without one, but if you get a chance to get one, you love it. So what we are dehydrating today is in this jar. I've already done this once before. It's okra. We went and visited Kevin and Sarah a few weeks ago from Living Traditions, and they had okra drying in their dehydrator, and it is so good. I didn't actually get to try a piece that day. She offered me some, and I had gum, and I was going to do it later, and I never did. But she said they eat it like candy. And I said, well, what'd you do to it? Did you season it, salt it, what? And she said, no, just dry it. Like, that's it. Just cut it up and dry it. So I came home and I thought, man, I wish I'd have tried that, because there's always an abundance of okra. It loves the weather here in the South. It's hot and dry, and that's what okra loves. So I thought, I'm going to give that a try. So I tried it last week. This stuff is awesome. It's got like the right amount of crunch. You just need to try it. I just can't describe. It's just a good little crunchy snack. And okra, the slime factor that a lot of people don't like about okra, is really healing to your gut. So it's a good way to get it in, and it's not slimy anymore. It's just crunchy and good. Okay, so all we have to do to dehydrate this okra is chop it up. That's all there is to it, and put it in the dehydrator. Now, some of this I'll let get a little bit big. So here's what I'm gonna do. As I'm chopping it, and I'm chopping the ends off, I'm just gonna make sure that my knife goes through it okay. Now see this one, I can just tell by the sound and it's hard to get my knife into it. That's gonna be tough. This one is still very tender. It's a little bit bigger too. Slice it in pretty thin slices just because it's gonna need to lay on your trays, and in the Excalibur, the trays, if you use them all, are fairly close together. So that's the only reason for that. You can always just put in every other tray and it won't, you can put something thicker because you got more room between the trays. I grew 2 different varieties of okra this year from Baker Creek. Now this one is definitely too hard. I can tell by, it's just tough. I'm not gonna use that. I'll compost that or feed it to an animal. I just didn't pick it soon enough and I let it get too big. This bigger okra like this makes really good like okra chips because they wind up a lot bigger. So the 2 types I grew this year are the Hill Country Heirloom Red and the Bowling Red, both from Baker Creek. This is what the Bowling Red looks like. They're skinny and red. And then this is the Hill Country Heirloom Red. It's like greenish red. I've liked them both. We actually sent some of these out. These are Baker Creek seeds to some of y'all. So I hope yours did good. Ours has done very well for us. Okay, so I got all my okra chopped up. Now I'm just gonna spread it on trays. I've already put 1 tray in there. This is only gonna be a couple of trays worth, which is fine because I can spread them out further in the dehydrator. So just do however many trays you have. Just put them in a single layer. They will dry a lot better if you do. Okay, and I just randomly chopped it. It's not anything uniform. I didn't use any kind of food chopper or get fancy with it. Okay, so I've got my trays in there. I only wound up with 2. That's fine. They'll have more room to circulate air. I've got my dehydrator set on about 125 for vegetables. The Excalibur looks like this. You can just go on whatever your dehydrator setting is. Mine says vegetables is about 125. So I'm not gonna give you a recommendation on time because you kind of just need to watch it. It's gonna depend on how full your dehydrator is, all those kinds of things. And so just keep an eye on it. I'm gonna turn mine on to about 10 hours, but I'm gonna check it in a little while. It may not take that long. We'll just see. So again, that's gonna have a few factors to it. So just keep an eye on it. When it's as crunchy as you'd like, it's done. All right, y'all, we're switching gears from the kitchen to, I apologize, this might be a little gross. This really doesn't go well with kitchen stuff, so I'm just giving you a fair warning. But the kitchen stuff wasn't enough for a whole video, and this is just how it is here really on the farm and homestead. We might switch from doing stuff in the kitchen to going out and doing something on the farm that just might not be that appetizing. So I've got about a million things going right now, little bits of this and that. So I hope you'll get your sourdough starter out. Try dehydrating some okra. It's really good. But we're gonna switch gears now. A lot of you have left comments as we showed you using the black light to catch the tomato hornworms and said, feed those to your chickens. Oh, that'd be a great chicken snack. Well, it's not that we hadn't thought of that, but our chickens in the past will not touch them. They just look at them and just let them crawl away. It's like they're scared of them. But we're gonna give it another try. We're taking y'all along as we try it. Emily's got the bucket of worms. We're gonna go over to the chickens and show y'all what they do. Maybe they'll eat them this time. I hope they do. So let's go. All right, so we're gonna follow Emily out here. She's feeding sheep and Katie and all that, and then we're gonna go give it a try. Lane's ready to go feed the chickens, but we're gonna make sure they're extra hungry, so maybe they'll eat these worms. You like those? Yeah. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna try it.
Do that.
How about you do one so you don't have to pick them all
Yeah, do
up?
one.
There's 2. Because I'm not touching them.
Oh. Make sure they don't just play with them.
Nothing. They just grab
funny.
and
It's
shake
like they're
their
afraid of
heads. Yeah.
Thought I'd end this and give y'all a sneak peek at all of our sprouts for fall. All the things Ben showed you that he was sprouting for us to plant in the garden. They're doing awesome. All kinds of Chinese cabbage. That's what all this is. Cabbages, different types of cabbages. The lettuces are kind of slow to sprout, but this is butter crunch lettuce. I'm excited about that. That looks really good. We've got all kinds of cauliflowers and broccolis and kohlrabi and kale and chard and cucumbers. So I need to get in here and give all this a shower and a drink because it's hot. And before we go, I'll give y'all a sneak peek at the greenhouse, and then I'll give you a better tour a different day. But we've got all kinds of lettuces over here, amaranth down there, that spinach climbing up down here. I've got spinach galore climbing up this paracord. More spinach over there going crazy. I need to be eating spinach if you can't tell. I've got one lone bok choy there. More lettuce, a little tomato. The one lone beautiful papaya. Lots of mint. And this might be my favorite thing in this whole greenhouse. The very first lemon we've ever been able to get to grow to full size. Super excited about that. Wish I could get a lot more going and be able to grow my own lemons. So that's just a little sneak peek of what's going on in the greenhouse. About to get the fall garden planted. All the things we planted in the holes out back that I put rabbit poo in some and some not are coming up. The ones with the rabbit poo are almost all of them came up and almost none of the others did yet. So I really think that's going to make a difference. Thanks for tuning in, and we will eat crow when we have to. So you saw it. Our chickens actually ate the worms, or at least they pecked around and I think killed them. So they, in the past, they've just looked at them and walked off. But this time that you saw the first chicken grabbed one, I guess that encouraged the others. Who knows? I'm glad they did, because it's a snack for them and we were gonna have to get rid of them anyway. So thanks for tuning in. Get those sourdough starters out and we'll start that next week. Thanks for watching. We love and appreciate y'all. We'll see you later. God bless.